Hello, welcome to episode 7 of the ExtraCasual podcast with Ashton
and Gavin.
We got a couple interesting lineups today for topics. Quick one run through. Do our tradition. We have a big Microsoft news for any Microsoft fans. We have a topic about human DNA all over the planet and scientists are worried. Valve is the latest company to be sued by Immersion over its Steam Deck Rumble tech. Well, that's a jumble of words. And we have a Mortal Kombat 1, which I believe they're going to be remastering the first game. And then at the end, I also have a kind of like a quiz or like a guessing game for Gavin.
Yeah. As I haven't looked at the last thing, at least extensively.
Yeah, the Steam thing is so Valve does, I think it's a monthly survey or like every other month survey. But basically it scans your system's hardware and gives you the data to everyone to see what's the most used system specs and everything.
Like graphics cards, motherboards and whatnot.
Yeah, but you gotta wait for the end to listen to that one, so let's get into our first topic.
Yep.
And I believe this one is yours, Gavin.
Yep, and it's a doozy. The European Union approved Microsoft's $69 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard, getting a huge hurdle. So basically the reason why countries were blocking this is because everyone knows that Microsoft has been getting these big players in the industry like Bethesda relatively recently, and the worry is that it might start a monopoly, and monopolies are highly illegal in the marketing / business world.
Yeah, after all those people back a long time ago, the train companies owned everything.
They allow them to charge up all the prices, pay their employees even less, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
European Union regulators on Monday approved Microsoft's proposed $69 billion acquisition of gaming firm Activision Blizzard, subject to remedies offered by U.S. tech giant. So, what are your thoughts on Microsoft's attempted acquisition of Activision Blizzard?
I used to be a huge fan of Microsoft and Xbox and all that, but now I'm kind of just either way would go type of person. But
yeah,
it's kind of companies are really actively trying to stop Microsoft, but then another company would do the same thing and they don't get stopped for it.
Yeah. Well,
just seems like they're just picking who to try to interfere with.
Well, it's because I think Microsoft is within the top 20 richest companies ever. Yes, Microsoft is a country.
I bet you they would expand if they could.
Yeah, if they could. I also remember a while back. This is somewhat related, but apparently there's something saying we should give Facebook and Amazon UN seats.
Why?
I don't know.
I'd like to hear that person's take, but we'll probably never find them.
It just sounds dystopian as hell. Think of it two big corporations, not countries, kind of playing the world's strings.
Yeah, it's very dystopic.
Yeah. Right now, my thoughts on the Activision Blizzard acquisition by Microsoft. It can only really be good for Activision Blizzard because everyone knows, at least if they've been paying attention to the gaming sphere within the past year or so, everyone knows that they're in pretty hot water with all the sexual harassment allegations and the fact that the current CEO, Bobby Kotick, literally did absolutely nothing to remedy the situation, even though he knew all about it.
Well, did you hear his recent press statement?
No. What did he say?
Oh my, it's so sad. So once Redfall came out, he like admitted like because that was an Xbox exclusive game, or like Xbox on Windows.
Well,
He basically, you go.
I think you're thinking of someone else. Like it's the head of Xbox, not Bobby Kotick. He's the head of Activision Blizzard.
Oh, whoops.
And,
Well, have you heard that story?
yeah, I've heard about it. Like, basically, the head of Xbox said that it isn't what he was expecting personally, and he also like admitted that Xbox has basically lost the console war to PlayStation and Switch.
Yeah.
Which is, it's pretty damning. Like,
it's surprising.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that, people will buy a PlayStation, usually for exclusives or because their friends have it. The only reason why someone would buy an Xbox is kind of what I did, is because my friends had Xboxes.
Mm-hmm. Not everyone's getting PlayStations.
Yeah.
Or just not buying a new Xbox and just sticking with the one that they have.
Yeah. No, the PC always wins, because usually those exclusives will make its way to PC in a well, maybe not reasonable amount of time, but in a set of time.
Just an eventual time.
Yeah. Let's see. European Commission. The European Commission used executive arm, so that Microsoft offered remedies to the nascent area of cloud gaming that staved off antitrust concerns. The remedies centered around using users to stream Activision games purchased on the cloud streaming platform. What's it mean by that?
Remedies centered allowing users to stream Activision games they purchase on any cloud. So is it like they're saying like any streaming platform they're allowed to stream their games off of?
Sounds like it. I mean, like, what about Steam? Like, new COD games are being released onto Steam.
I am glad that they're doing that.
Yeah. Like, does it mean, like, something about, like, kind of like cross-console, like, progress keeping or something like that? Like, you can play it on Xbox, then you can go to, like, PC and keep all your stuff. That'd be cool.
That would have been nice to have when I was a kid.
Yeah. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. Let's see. Europe's Greenlight is a huge one for Microsoft after UK's top competition authority last month blocked the deal. Oh yeah, I forgot that was a huge thing. The United Kingdom basically put a roadblock in front of the acquisition. Let's see. Regulators globally have been probing whether Microsoft's acquisition of Activision could distort competition in the console cloud gaming market. Once regulators question whether Microsoft might take Activision games, keep them exclusively on US Giants' own platform. Activision is behind some of the biggest PC console games in the world, including Call of Duty franchise and World of Warcraft. I actually remember seeing something else, which reminded me that apparently EA said that they're fine with the acquisition, saying that they'll keep on producing Xbox's top sellers, which is a pretty cocky move, might I say, but especially because EA isn't exactly looked in a very positive light.
Yeah. Okay, so one quick question. This is in the EU.
European Union.
So, what is the US having a problem with this too? Or, are they blocking it?
I'm not sure. I haven't really seen anything about that. Only thing in terms of the blocking of acquisition has been the UK, and that's it.
Like the UK government blocking it?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's a monopoly kind of thing, where even says that question whether or not Microsoft might make Activision games exclusive to their own platforms. Let's see. The European Union, decision comes after UK Competition Markets Authority last month blocked the deal over concerns it would reduce competition in the nascent cloud gaming market. The CMA said Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's key games such as Call of Duty exclusive to its own gaming platforms. The CMA nevertheless said that acquisition would not reduce competition in the console market. Well, if it said that it would be beneficial to make Activision's properties exclusive, but also said that it would not reduce competition, that's kind of a opposing statements, I guess. Because you can't really keep something exclusive, but also claim that an acquisition would not affect competition.
Yeah. It's kind of weird.
Microsoft faced opposition from deal regulators and some of its rivals, including PlayStation's game console maker Sony. That's a weird sentence, I think. Microsoft sought to allies the Commission's concerns over making Activision games exclusive ahead of EU decision. Microsoft's president Brad Smith met with EU officials in February, after which the tech giant said it would bring Xbox PC games to Nvidia's cloud gaming service. Chipmaker had reportedly expressed opposition to the acquisition. Interesting. Microsoft also signed a 10-year deal with Nintendo to bring Call of Duty to Japanese gaming giant's platform. Activision deal closes. I mean, that sounds terrible. Imagine playing MW2 on the Switch.
Guys, my game keeps crashing on round 5 in zombies because my Nintendo Switch keeps overheating.
That's not good.
For 10 years, though, too.
Yeah, 10 years.
What? That seems like such a large and specific amount.
Yeah. Well, at least some people in the gaming market are getting along.
Yeah. Remember when there was rumors that or no, I'm pretty sure there wasn't rumors. I'm pretty sure it was true that Microsoft tried to buy Nintendo.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. And Nintendo kind of just laughed in their faces, saying no.
Yeah, basically, Microsoft messed it up, and Nintendo's like, ha, no.
Well, I think even if Nintendo kind of went along with the deal, I don't think if something similar will be happening then as it is right now with Microsoft's trying acquisition to Activision Blizzard. But instead of it eventually going through, like it kind of is right now, it's going to be a hard stop because, like it said, Nintendo is a gaming giant, so to say. And if Microsoft were to acquire Nintendo, that's not half, 1/3 the main competition under their wing.
Mm-hmm.
And that'd give them such a obvious edge over Sony that it could be very well be seen as uncompetition or whatever.
Watch, Sony would still be able to pull through over Microsoft if they had Nintendo.
They would need to have some banger games, because if Microsoft held dominion over Nintendo is already really well known for their first-party games, like The Legend of Zelda, Mario, Metroid,
Kirby,
etc., etc. Where, that's basically those are the selling points of a Switch. Not the hardware, but the games.
Oh god, definitely not the hardware.
Yeah, definitely not. But I guess a bit of a fun fact: the chip that was used to make the original Switch went out of date as soon as the Switch launched.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see. The Commission examined a number of areas around the deal, including the impacted competition and the consoles for fast-growing cloud gaming market. Microsoft is broadly fallen behind with Xbox in the last generation of consoles versus Sony's PlayStation 5 and the Nintendo Switch. But United States giant has staked its future market into so-called cloud gaming, a nascent part of the industry. I have no idea what nascent means.
Why does it keep appearing in this article?
I don't know.
Dictionary time. Nascent. especially of a process or organization just coming into existence and beginning to display signs of future potential.
Okay, that makes sense. It also has something to do with chemistry.
Huh. Back to the article.
European Union Commission found that Activision takeover would not reduce competition in the console market, given Sony's dominance with the PlayStation. If anything, it feels like it might even the playing field. As long as, in theory, things go the way that Microsoft would want it.
Yeah. It'd be nice, to be honest, it'd be nice if this could go through, because then we'd see more tight competition.
Yeah.
Tight competition always leads to better products for customers and consumers.
Yeah. It's like, this might be a bit of a mundane analogy, but it's like in war how technology advances the fastest. Like, in this case, it's a different kind of war, but, quality of games could start to go back on the incline instead of the decline. Especially like AAA titles like COD.
Yeah. Now see, this is a more important war than war now. This is the console wars, Gavin. We gotta take this serious.
Well, maybe to us first world people, but everyone else not so much. No. Have you seen what's happening in Eastern Europe? Whatever.
Console war is more important.
Oh yeah, totally. A large part of the European Union's investigation centered around cloud gaming. Cloud gaming will allow people to effectively stream games from servers, removing the need for expensive dedicated hardware, such as consoles. Games will be played on existing devices like TVs, smartphones, laptops. For example, if a user buys a game online, they can stream it via cloud gaming service. It sounds interesting. So it's like...
Yeah, it's like Stadia.
Yeah, just maybe it might...
Stadia?
Yeah, just maybe it might actually work this time.
That's sad, because Stadia, was the first innovator of cloud gaming, and everyone, shit on it, and now it's, commonly accepted.
Yeah. Well, that's because it was Google behind it.
Well, and it was, very new technology.
Yeah. It feels like there's another thing. Oh, yeah. Apparently, it's also, Stadia was, they marketed it as, the next big thing in gaming, and, it can stream games at, 60 plus FPS with, 1080p.
4K.
Yeah, 4K. Meanwhile, they compared it to the One X, and it's with Red Dead 2, and it looks so much worse on the Stadia.
They had 11 games, and people as they're updating it and all that, and trying to make it run and improve it with games and stuff, that they added a search bar to their games list, even though you could just see all the games without needing to look up any of them.
That's embarrassing. My only question is, how would this thing work? Would you get a little SD card? Well, maybe not SD card, but little hard drive that basically says, "Hey, you have access." Basically a physical digital key, if that makes sense.
I think it would just know your account and know what games you own or not.
I suppose.
It's kind of just like Steam. You can still on Steam, you can I could send you a copy of a game, but if you try to load it on Steam, it'll tell you to buy it before you can play it.
Yeah.
So it just has DRM and ways to verify that you actually own the game.
Yeah. There's a few games like that with their DLC. For example, Dead Cells, game that I've been playing a lot.
Gavin's new addiction.
Yeah, definitely. We can talk about that later, though. If we run out of topics before we run out of time.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you could go to specific areas where you could encounter gates to DLC areas, but it'll tell you hey, you don't own this DLC, so you can't go there. Yeah, I think it's really a thing in the code too. Like if it will detect if you have it, and if you have it, you can just go in.
That's cool.
Yeah, and the best part is that I think the DLC is literally just built into the main game, so you just have to buy it, and there's no download. Yeah. Let's see.
That reminds me of like what is it? The giant into Horizon Direct on BO3.
Oh yeah, where it's like basically in the game, but like not exactly.
Yeah, because like the free like DLC one.
Yeah, free
like weekend.
Yeah, free to play weekends. Yeah.
Okay, back to the article.
Yeah, I'll just read like a few more. We've been on this one for like 20 minutes. Let's see.
Yeah, how about you read these?
Let's see. A couple quotes. We have concern about cloud gaming, which is in brackets very nascent right now, but it will grow. Margrethe Vestager, the EU's top competition official, told CNBC's Sylvia Amaro on Monday. We're given the remedy, so 10-year license for free and existing incoming games now to be made available. So we think this will not only sort of solving a problem, but also pro-competitive, and that for us is a good thing. Well, Activision CEO Bobby Kotick said on Thursday, company which will be founded in France has deep roots in Europe. Alright, I'm going to call it right now. As soon as Microsoft acquires Activision, Bobby's out. There's going to call in someone brand new. Especially because, like I said, with all the sexual harassment stuff, and the fact that Bobby knew about this stuff and didn't do anything about it, it's really given Activision Blizzard a bad name. Well, worse name, should I say.
Bad games and assault.
Well, who knows? Maybe with the extra funding and manpower that Microsoft can give Activision Blizzard, it can maybe start making good games again.
Hopefully.
Yeah. I think that's it for this topic. At least that's all that's important. Let's see. US FTC. UK still stands by its decision to block it. That's really you really need to know.
UK is holding its ground.
Yeah, well, European Union, the giant, the economic giant that it is, might be able to sway its decision.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, that's probably it for that one. Alright, yeah, yours is up now.
Okay. Cooking up a new article right here. Human DNA is all over the planet and scientists are worried. As useful as this may seem, the study's authors warn society might not be prepared for the consequences. Anytime we make a technological advance, there are beneficial things that the technology can be used for, and concerning things that technology can be used for, says University of Florida zoologist David Duffy, who led a project that tested the limits of sequencing human DNA for the environment.
Sounds interesting.
That's just a lot of mumbo jumbo.
Uh-huh.
I don't think we're not smart enough for this.
Okay, well, DNA sequence is the okay. It's something involving the human genome and the genetic code of basically every living thing, including humans.
Well, yeah, that's like the thing where your piece of hair has unique DNA to you.
I played BioShock. I know about genetic codes and whatnot.
I know about the Rapture.
Yo.
Okay, back to the article. These are issues that we're trying to raise early so policymakers and society have time to develop regulations. Earth's surface is dusted in discarded plant and animal cells and disintegrated microbes, spilling out what researchers refer to as environmental or eDNA. Well, it's another classifying human DNA and environment DNA.
Well, I guess it makes sense.
It's pretty smart.
Because like, I guess the human DNA is what's on them / in them now, and environmental DNA is just kind of what's left behind. Like, the little bit of skin cells that kind of peel off your foot, like whenever you're walking, or like they're like loose hairs that can just fall. As part of the environment now, I guess.
The environment owns it.
Yeah.
By amplifying the smallest scraps of eDNA in reading sequences, researchers can accurately produce an ecological cast list of organisms present in any one habitat at all speeds and costs that couldn't be achieved by fieldwork. Imagine this, like, in the future, this is definitely going to be used for, like, crime, or, like, police cases and investigations.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it already is used now, but probably not to this degree.
Yeah. Well,
they're saying, like, they can literally just pick up, like, sand and be like, oh, probably not a dinosaur, but, like, oh, there's been human trace here the last 30 days or something.
Yeah. This talks about, environmental DNA, which kind of reminds me of, like, a bit of a theory. Or, well, I guess it can also be seen as a conspiracy theory, but basically it's that the world that we live in is alive. And I'm not just talking like, moving parts and whatnot. I'm talking like the earth that we stand on is alive somehow.
And that's an interesting theory.
Yeah. And the only real thing that would even make it remotely make sense is that, like, how organisms have fevers to kill off, like, bacteria and whatnot?
No, but sure.
Okay, well, it's like that. Well, what if this whole global warming thing is just Earth heating up to get rid of its bacteria, aka us?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, it takes a lot of, like, time and research to figure things out. Like, you might not know this, but trees can communicate with each other.
Really?
So, like, whenever there's, like, do you know how people say, like, oh, trees can't feel pain? Technically, whenever, like, you're cutting down a tree, it will send out, like, a high-pitched, like, screeching sound or, like, a signal to other trees around it. And another thing is, like, if there's ever a drought, trees are able to communicate with each other in, like, some form or way that, like, alerts them that there's not going to be a lot of water.
Like direction?
Stuff like that. So it's just, like, a lot of things, like, start to, like, the more and more you research stuff, just more interesting facts come out about it.
Yeah. Also, apparently plants can also feel pain, like you said. Or if you haven't said that, just in general. So, suck it, vegans. Find something else to eat.
Funny thing I heard, I'm going to quickly talk about this when we get back to the article, but vegans, like, their whole purpose of, like, I'm not saying being a vegan is wrong, like, you can choose what you want to eat and what you want to do.
Yeah.
It's, it's your right.
Mm-hmm.
But, I shouldn't add a but. It's, there is no but. It's, I saw this thing where this tofu farmer was like, every animal that I see I have to kill, because if I don't kill them, then they're gonna eat the tofu. So then the people that eat the tofu can feel, like, conscious that they didn't have to kill any animals to eat this food. But they're like, animals were killed in the process of trying to get that food.
And thus nothing really changes.
And it's just another way of eating food while animals are still dying in the process.
Like, alright, I guess this is gonna
we
be...
can tangent.
Yeah. This is just gonna be... permission. This is just my 2 cents on this. But it feels like the people that are, like, the overly obsessed vegan type, like, the ones that will run into, like, a KFC or something and just start, like, doing some random shit, they would have no problem if it came to human lives at stake. Like, I don't know. They hear of, like, some mass shooting, and then they hear about, a new butcher shop got opened up on Main Street or whatever. They'll be more mad about the butcher shop than the mass shooting.
Yeah, it's interesting how some people are able to think.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what we need to do more research in.
Yeah. Just how people think.
The thoughts behind crazy people.
I mean, it's radicalism. That's all it is. It could be literally anything. Politics, personal beliefs, religious beliefs.
Eco beliefs.
Yeah.
Like, I just saw a really interesting form of protest. Do you like those people that, like, vandalize art shows and stuff?
Yeah.
I saw one where this guy interrupted a pool match.
Like billiards?
Like, they were they were playing, like, a professional pool game. And the guy just walked up and, like, kneeled on the table and then poured, like yeast or something all over him. Like, it was, like, an orangish substance everywhere.
Yeast isn't orange, but it could be, like...
Well, it was, like, some type of flour, I think. But it was, like, an oil protest or something. At a pool match.
I guess people will be watching. Yeah, well, that's just my 2 cents on that whole thing.
Well, let's get back to the article. If you guys forgot, we're talking about DNA sequencing and the difference between environmental DNA and human DNA. But back to it. What's more, those representative genetic samples also deliver insights that no other process could accomplish on their own, such as informing researchers on the presence of diseases or the relationship between populations. This is all well and good when zoologists are plucking long-lost genes from ancient sediment or fishing for signs of mythological monster Loch Ness Monster. But in that genetic soup there are bound to be strands of material left by passing humans as well, and unlike Nessie, people who tend to get a little funny about who snoops on their genetic secrets.
Oh yeah, definitely. Especially if you're in Nevada. There's a lot of genetic code there, if you know what I mean.
Why is this one family linked to everyone in this town?
Yeah, Genghis Khan, is that you?
Oh, it's so... I think this is actually turning the way that I was talking about with, like, the investigation thing.
Yeah.
Because unlike Nessie, people tend to get a little funny about who snoops in their genetic secrets.
Well, first off, the Loch Ness Monster probably doesn't exist. Second off...
Probably.
People are paranoid over everything these days. If they knew that their genetic code could potentially be in danger, they would be up in arms about it. There'd be, like, protests and shit. Like, it'd be like the whole, like, like, during the pandemic, when people were saying, like, oh, you can't force us to wear a mask, but, like, either 10 times worse or not nearly as bad.
Yeah, they're like there's just a lot of crazy people. I can't even describe them.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the Crazy People podcast.
Yo.
Pretty soon we're gonna go crazy.
Who knows? Maybe we're already crazy. We just bouts of sameness.
No, you're crazy.
You don't exist.
Yep, you're making a podcast by yourself right now.
Sounds about right.
Back to the article. While other methods of sequencing have struggled to find meaningful human genetic sequences within eDNA samples, a process known as shotgun sequencing isn't quite so limited, as demonstrated by Duffy and his team in their recent investigation. The research team took water and sand samples from near the Whitney Laboratory for Marine Bioscience and Sea Turtle Hospital at the University of Florida and from environments along the river in Duffy's home country of Ireland. Among the sites, they collected samples from an isolated island and a mountain stream far from human habitation.
Shotgun.
Of course, everything has to lead back to guns.
Hey, listen, don't let the Germans hear about this, because they might try to accuse it of being a war crime.
Crime stick sequencing.
Yeah. I guess for context, for anyone that doesn't know real quick, during the First World War, the Germans were up in arms about the Americans using shotguns in the trenches, calling it the war crime stick. And want to know
they were using other worse things.
Yeah, like gas and flamethrowers. And want to know what us Americans did? We laughed at them and continued to use it.
Back to the article. Referred to as human genetic bycatch, HGB, many of the chromosomal fragments identified using the shotgun approach contained identifying information about their source. Only the island and a remote stream were free of human DNA, although traces of the research team's own genetics could be extracted from their footprints in the isolated island sand. Air samples from University's Sea Turtle Hospital also contained DNA that could be traced to staff, animals, and common animal viruses.
That's interesting. Huh.
Okay, I'm going to read a couple quotes, and then I'm going to call it.
Alright.
Here's a quote. We have been consistently surprised throughout this project at how much human DNA we find and the quality of that DNA, says Duffy. Most of the cases in quality is almost equivalent to if you took samples from a person. That is really interesting.
So that's how long eDNA can last. Like, what? Like it said, like what, up to a month or something like that?
I don't even think it set a date, but it's just surprising that you're able to pull the quality from off of like a ground or like the air quality and be like, oh yeah, that's Nate right there. That's Nate's breath.
That's
through like eDNA samples.
Yeah, dude, this can get wild in the future. Like you said, it's gonna get to the point where like people are solving crimes based off of like air particles in a specific area.
If you breathe at this certain time and day, then you're under investigation.
Yeah. Alright, you think that's it?
I'm gonna read 2 more.
Okay.
It's standard in science to make these sequences publicly available, but that also means if you don't screen out human information, anyone can come along and harvest this information, says Duffy. Yes. It raises issues around consent, and you do need to get consent to take those samples or institute some controls to remove human information.
Well, everything needs to be regulated, and especially something like this.
That is good that they're taking that into account.
Yeah.
Taking that's kind of like a gray area though.
Yeah, definitely, because
it's technically something you're leaving behind, but at the same time you're not like purposely trying to leave it behind.
Yeah. I mean, technically you don't own that stuff anymore. It's just kind of there, like in the environment. Like
I stole your DNA.
Like you wouldn't say that you owned like dead skin cells, right?
I mean, normal people wouldn't say that.
Yeah, exactly. Or you won't say that you like, you know, a few like hairs that fell out, right? So in that regard, it's not exactly like a thing of ownership or like consent, because like I said, at a certain point, it just doesn't really matter. But I mean, it does matter, and like you said, it's
if it could be used in a crime scene, then it would matter.
Yeah. That's a completely different can of worms in its entirety. You don't exactly need consent to get like DNA samples from a crime scene, because how would that work?
Well, but that's after they're suspected, aren't they?
No, usually it's the DNA sample, then the suspicion.
Well, that can of worms can be left in the eDNA universe for forever.
Yeah, unless it becomes a major part of our lives somehow.
Yep, just wait like 30 years and we're gonna be like looking back on this like shaking our heads.
God damn, if only we knew how far it'd go. Alright, well, let's move on to the next thing. So, Valve, everyone knows that they made a Switch competitor known as the Steam Deck. I have one, Ashton has one, and we are both very pleased with it.
Valve is also the company that runs Steam, for people that don't know.
They are being sued by Immersion Tech, or just Immersion, over the Rumble feature for the Steam Deck. Immersion Corporation has been suing over its Rumble haptic technology since 2004.
Okay. It says companies, so they've done this to multiple companies.
Yeah, go back up. Actually, no, I don't. Sony and Microsoft end up licensing Immersion's patents after selling lawsuits. Apple, Google, Motorola, and Fitbit did the same. Nintendo and Sony says it uses different tech, but both elected to license Immersion's patents. Oh, so it's a patent. Valve uses the same Rumble tech as Nintendo and Sony. I know what this is. Because of its... So basically what a patent is basically kind of like a copyright over like an entire like thing.
Design.
Yeah, design feature.
Or like concept.
Yeah, like... Thomas Edison, he didn't invent the light bulb, but he held the patent over it, so he was treated like he invented the light bulb.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So, is this like a patent troll?
Yeah, basically.
Gavin, I have sad news for you, but that's the end of the article right there.
Go down a little bit more.
This is just a different article.
Okay. Man, that was short. Not shorter than I expected.
Bad list.
Okay.
This is going on the shit website page again.
Because it's too short. Let's see. If Valve wants to fight this, they've got a mountain of precedent to overcome. Both Sony and Microsoft end up licensing Immersion's patents after selling lawsuits. Apple, Google, Motorola, and Fitbit did the same. Nintendo, Sony used different form of Rumble tech, but both elected to license. That's the exact same thing I just read. It appears that Immersion didn't sue Valve for its Steam controller, which was killed back in 2019, but Steam Deck appears to have much bigger success in terms of sales. However, it's generally been a hit with both critics and gamers.
Oh, so they're not going to sue unless it's a successful product?
Sounds about right.
Because they didn't sue the Steam controller, and allegedly, I'm not sure, they use the same like Rumble tech as the Steam Deck, or very similar.
Yeah. Well, if Valve can prove that, it's very different to whatever Immersion is licensing or whatever, then they could probably get away with it. It's just that if they're trying to lock down an entire patent, so there'd be like very little competition. Funnily enough, we're talking about more competition-based stuff in terms of marketing and business.
Yeah. What are they going to do? Like, are they going to start suing hexbugs because their hexbugs vibrate around or something?
I think that's I think that's very different because this is more
controller tech.
Yeah, that's more controller tech. Hexbugs is like it's a toy that basically its entire gimmick is it moves based off of vibrations.
Yeah.
Like, let's see, how should I say this? Because I'm honestly kind of not sure.
And did you read this right here?
Yeah. Well, I think so. Immersion wants to injunct against Valve from deploying operating maintenance testing and using accused handheld instrumentalities and accused VR instrumentalities. It stated in some fine legalese. And as for damages of royalties as well, I'll cite 7 specific patents dating from 2002 and 2016. 7 patents. Okay, so some tells me it's not going to be as easy to get away with as I immediately thought. Because if it can cite up to 7 specific things from, the span of 14 years, it's going to be a pretty big fish to reel in, I guess.
Yeah. This is just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know what Immersion does. Is like, I wonder if they actually have products.
Well, at least from what it seems like is that they license and they license out specific like licenses, obviously to
They just hold patents.
yeah, and hold patents to allow companies to put Rumble in their controllers and whatnot. I assume, despite the fact Sony has their own tech, or they used separate tech in Nintendo, Sony just bought it so they don't have to deal with bullshit lawsuits and whatnot.
The free from the immersion terror.
Yeah. It probably cost them a pretty penny, too, for the licensing, and they probably have to renew it every single year.
Yeah.
Looks like the only one that hasn't really been affected by it is Nintendo, based on the fact that it hasn't mentioned them being sued by Immersion.
Well, have you, seen Nintendo's Rumble on their Switch?
That's true.
It's do you know how good it is?
Think it's their own thing, or?
It's no, they literally call it HD Rumble. The Rumble on the Switch controllers is so amazing that, there's mini games based around, you cook, I know there's a Cooking Mama game on the Switch. You gotta cook the bacon until your controller vibrates a certain way, and, there's a bunch of different, vibration patterns and, intensity of the vibrations. It's actually, really cool.
Yeah.
I know it sounds pretty boring, but I know most people have a Switch, but if you, oh, here's a good example. On the new Pokemon game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, whenever you're, the form of the Mega evolving, where you give it the extra type, whenever he goes to throw the Pokeball, your controllers vibrate, and the vibration is just super cool.
It's
it actually, it feels like a spiral vibration. It's coiling up.
I guess I get that. I kind of feel that with when I listen to music sometimes, where sometimes, I think it's kind of like an orb, surround, kind of flying around my head. Be it the drum beats, the guitar, whatever. It's just kind of moving around my head at a constant pace.
There is a certain, I don't know if it's a genre, but there's a certain style of music that does that on purpose.
Yeah. Well, it's
cool. It's called 5D, I think. Basically, the music moves around you the whole entire time.
Transcends space and time. Groovy.
Yeah.
Okay, I think that's enough for that little bit.
Yep. My article, and then we got my little mini game. One that people have been waiting for this whole entire time and hopefully didn't click off of.
Probably. Who knows?
Okay, so this is the Mortal Kombat topic. Mortal Kombat 1. Every confirmed character revealed so far. So, I'm pretty sure that they announced a Mortal Kombat 1 remake. And I swear... You can go.
Well, I mean, I guess it makes sense, because they want to just name it Mortal Kombat 1 and have it come after, whatever the current one is, because, 13 is in development, right? Or 12, or whatever's the next one.
It's 12 or 13.
Yeah, those two. There's a lot of these games.
But I swear there was a Netflix movie or something that could have been this when I originally saw it.
Yeah. Netflix movies. Mortal Kombat.
Speaking back to what I was originally going to say, I swear to God, this is the most violent and gruesome Mortal Kombat game that I've seen from clips and stuff. There's no clips here, but I encourage you to go look up Mortal... if you're desensitized to gore and video games and movies, just look up the Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay. If you thought that 11 and 10 were gruesome and just violent, just look at Mortal Kombat 1 stuff. It's I think there's one where they grabs their face and just squishes it and pops their eyeballs out. It's just interesting, but back to the article so I don't get too sidetracked. Every confirmed character revealed so far. Developer NetherRealm Studios have revealed many confirmed characters from Mortal Kombat 1 so far, but the initial roster of playable heroes and villains will likely get veteran players excited. New fighting game is a direct sequel to the events in Mortal Kombat 11.
Still there? I can't hear you.
Gavin? You there?
Not this problem again. It happened last time.
Uh-oh. Not again.
Checking my internet settings once again. Did he mute himself by accident? No.
Come on.
My headphones dead? I don't think so. You there? Can't hear you if you are.
What the? Did Discord just crash? Discord just crashed, wow. No way.
Okay, well, it looks like something bad happened to Ashton. I hope his recording didn't crash, or else we're not going to have an episode out this week, or next week, or whenever this goes out. I guess it's important to note that we always record these a week in advance, so yeah, we don't record and put them out the same night. Yeah. I guess to kind of relate to the topic, I've only played one Mortal Kombat game, and like it was with a friend that wasn't very good. I think it was either 10 or 11. I think I beat him a total time of once, and he beat me all the rest of the time. Shoot. Where's my phone? Ashton's calling. Hello? What happened? No, I'm still in the, thing.
It literally won't let me even open Discord.
That's not good.
Do I know what I did though?
What?
I swear to God if it fixes now. I just outroed. It's not working.
Oh, well, what I've been doing is, I've been kind of trying to keep up the pace, so to speak, so, yeah. I've just been talking about how the only, game of Mortal Kombat I played is Mortal Kombat 10, and I wasn't very good at it.
Just outro, because Discord's literally broken.
Yeah. Is your recording alright?
Yeah, the recording's fine, I just saved it.
Okay.
Just say Ashton had technical difficulties.
Well, I have it on speaker right now, so it's also coming through my mic.
Well, guys, this is how we're gonna end the episode, I guess.
Yep. Alright, I think I already know a name. Technical difficulties. Alright. Well, this is a very abrupt end to this week's episode, and yeah.
I don't even know what happened.
Yeah, neither do I. All I know is that you're reading an article. It just stopped suddenly. It's like, you still there, man?
I even heard you say, "Are you still there?" And then it just kicked me.
Uh-huh. Anyway, well, like I said, that's it for this week's episode. We'll try to figure out what's going on, so hopefully something like this doesn't happen next time. Or maybe there's just one yeah, maybe just anomaly. Well, this has been Gavin.
Ashton.
And we will see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.